Hello, everyone. My name is Shohini, and I have my colleague, Ms. Uchita Bakshani, joining me for this presentation, where we are going to present of one of our ongoing studies on parents' belief and perception towards technology and its impact on students, a comparative study across different socioeconomic groups in the Indian context. We have our team members who are not part of today's presentation, but we are working together in this study. Uh, Ms. Durba, Sandeep, Vinay, and Roshan. We are from the Center of Excellence in Teacher Education at the Tata Institute of Social Sciences, Mumbai. Uh, at the center, we have been we have been implementing different education technology projects, primarily through our field action projects for the past 10, 11 years. Uh, our team has been associated with one such field action project named Integrated Approach to Technology in Education, which has been implemented in across 8 states in India in the past 9 years. Currently, based on the experience and the learnings from the Integrated Approach to Technology in Education project, we are currently implementing a similar education technology project called the Technology Enabled Learning for Teachers and Adolescents of the 21st Century, in short, TELTA 21, in the government schools for children studying in the upper primary and secondary grades in an urban ghetto in the city of Mumbai, which is in the state of Maharashtra in India for the past 2.5 years. As you can see on screen, this is the approach, the main idea behind this project, where we use technology in the teaching learning process in the classroom in a constructive manner, primarily focusing on project-based learning, using project-based learning with students, where students use technology through in the ICT labs in the schools, and also using the laptops under the TELTA 21 project for project-based learning. The context of this study is based on this field action project of TELTA 21. During implementing these education technology programs, we have seen that the access to technology is not uniform for all learners. There are several factors that impact a learner's access to technology, like the socioeconomic status plays a vital role when it comes to a vital factor when it comes to the learner's access to technology, because parents coming from the lower socioeconomic background have lesser access to technology at home because of the number of devices. Gender plays a vital factor when it comes to access. In our program also, we have seen that girl children tend to have lesser access or limited access to technology, and also it is mainly under an elder or family member's supervision. The parents' perception and their own ease of using technology also plays also is an important factor. And still we see that many parents believe that technology can be rather a tool of disruption in education rather than being a tool for learning, because most of the because they are not themselves comfortable with technology, which actually affects the access for their children. Uh, as again, the purpose of this study is to see the various beliefs of parents regarding the use of digital technology by their children, and comparing these beliefs of the parents across various socioeconomic groups. So in this study, and also the to understand how COVID has affected these beliefs, uh, in this study, we are trying to see why parents from different socioeconomic backgrounds, in our case, the lower SES and the higher SES, uh, what are the reasons behind them making their children enroll for any such education technology programs. That is why, in case of the lower SES, we have interviewed. We are trying to see the parents from the Delta 21 program, and while choosing the parents from the higher SES, we have looked. We have chosen parents whose children are uh, associated with some education technology program, mainly in this case associated with programs working on computational thinking and robotics. Convenient sampling strategy has been used in our study. Till now, we have interviewed 7 parents from each of the socioeconomic sections. And today we will be presenting some of the preliminary findings from the interviews that we have been conducting. My colleague Uchita will talk about the preliminary findings that we have come across till now. Over to you, Uchita.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. So we're about halfway through our interview process. And so far, 6 major themes have come out from our conversations with parents of different socioeconomic settings that are displayed here on the screen. Winnie, can you go to the next slide, please? So the first an extremely striking theme that has come out is children's access to devices. So in case of the higher socioeconomic group or the children who are attending private schools, they have multiple devices that they use, multiple personal devices. In most cases, that's a smartphone and either a laptop or a tablet. And certain parents from this group have also mentioned that when education went online during the COVID lockdown period, they actually purchased additional laptops to make the process of education a lot more smoother for their children. In comparison, when we look at the group from the lower socioeconomic setting or the Delta parents, here the child to device ratio is quite high, with one smartphone being shared by up to 4 people. And a lot of these families did not even have the smartphone during the COVID-19 lockdown period. So for 2 years, their children practically had no access to education or internet in general. The next theme that we looked at was parents' use for technology in education. So for the children attending private school, their parents, even though technology was really new at the time, they did have access to desktops and internet either in cyber cafes or in their schools. So they have used technology for education and they know how and what is the power of technology in that case. Whereas for the Delta parents, they had no access to technology in their education, and even their access to basic education was extremely limited. Some of these parents have not attended school at all, so their children are actually first generation learners. Can we go to the next slide? The next theme that we looked at was the frequency of using technology by the family on a daily basis. In the higher socioeconomic setting, this is either a moderate to intense use of devices by parents and children. Whereas when we look at the lower socioeconomic settings, it's a very minimal use, and even if the access is given, either because of the user to device ratio or due to limits on data connectivity, access is for a limited amount of time. And that too, mostly it is for educational purposes. So if the teacher sends some homework on WhatsApp, or if the child has to research something for school next day, that's all that's allowed. And of course, female children, um, again, they're in a little more difficult situation where this access is only under adult supervision. In terms of the kind of softwares and programs used by children across different SES, all of them are using Google searches, YouTube. They use platforms like Zoom and Google Meet and play games online. However, we see that in a higher socioeconomic setting, children are also um, looking into programming and robotics software by themselves, even outside the scope of their classes and extracurricular activities that they're part of, which is not the case for the lower socioeconomic setting. As parents, they are afraid of the negative impacts of technology, which none of us can deny. So there are restrictions that we see across all socioeconomic settings that parents put for their children's usage of technology. However, the reasoning behind these restrictions are so very different across socioeconomic settings. In the higher socioeconomic group, it's more to do with technology, or excessive use of technology, should I say, is making the child reclusive. And the parents want to promote face-to-face socialization for their children, or they're afraid about the negative impacts of excessive screen time on the child's eye. Or in some cases, the child is too young to have unrestricted access to content, as they can't really differentiate between appropriate and inappropriate content. Whereas on the lower socioeconomic setting, the main reason for restriction seems to be either the belief that the environment online is not good for their children to be exposed to, or there is a limited number of devices available, due to which each child gets the device for a short period of time. Or in some cases, it's just that the parents don't believe that girl child needs to use technology that much. Next slide. Of course, COVID-19 has led to a significant increase in use of technology overall. Many children from the lower socioeconomic setting did not have access to mobile phones or the internet during the COVID-19 lockdown period, and hence they have significantly lost out on learning. The main purpose behind doing this study was to understand why parents enroll their children in programs like Delta 21. And on the lower socioeconomic setting, we saw that parents do believe that technology is the future, and they would like their child to be exposed to the skills required to have a successful future in the 21st century. And on the higher socioeconomic setting, parents also want their children to have the good, this kind of exposure that's going to help them build skills for their future. But another very dominant factor in enrolling their children for coding and computer science extracurricular classes is the child's interest, which is not really taken into consideration in the lower socioeconomic setting. Can we go to the next slide? So to conclude, the highlights of our findings are that digital divide is a major concern in urban Mumbai. Even today, there are many families and children who do not have access to smartphones and internet. Across socioeconomic status, parents do believe that technology is an important element of the future, and their children should be exposed to skills that will enable them to use technology effectively. Um, Restrictions are there across socioeconomic status on how much time the children should use technology for, but reasoning, like I mentioned before, are very different. And finally, something that we've known for a really long time is in the lower socioeconomic setting, female children face a double disadvantage in terms of access to technology itself. And hopefully, through the rest of our data collection, we will find more evidence to support these findings and to cull out a path on how we can remedy some of these situations. Thank you.
Thank you.